Howdy ho, peepers and creepers. I really need to get me a GoPro or something like that so I can just videotape this madness that I've been dealt here recently. So I did a quick video the other day, but I think I ended up deleting it because it was just a bunch of gibberish. But I was in here. I heard a bang in the garage. This was, I don't know, 7 days ago. I come in the garage and my automatic garage door springs were broken. So that was something I had to do. Well, while I was kind of diagnosing that and taking a few measurements and just trying to fill it out, I had my headlamp on and then I noticed my hot water heater was leaking. So I ended up having a bad hot water heater that needed to be replaced. And and then I have my backwash valve on my swimming pool needs to be replaced. So man, I'm like just all kinds of craziness going on right now. So long story short, man, I broke down a list here, and I don't know if these are COVID prices or what's going on still with this economy, this world, or whatever. But I don't mind doing the work myself. But I'm kind of strapped recently. I'm counting my money a little bit closer nowadays than I had in the past, and part of that is I haven't been driving as much Lyft, which was usually my party money and stuff. Anyways, my regular pay is okay. It gets me by, but but sometimes I just don't want to mess with this stuff. So for the garage, I called a garage door guy, and he was quoting me $500 plus. He goes, yeah, it just depends what you got going on. And I said, it's just the springs, brother. And he's like, yeah, it's 500 starting. So I feel they want to come out and try to sell you new rollers and all that other shit. Well, I got the upgraded rollers, supposedly, which they say is a scam and yada, yada, yada. But it keeps your garage door from crashing, and, so I paid for all that shit back in the day. But anyways, so $500, I don't know. I guess it's a skill. If you don't know how to do it, then it could be around there. Well, my price for the garage door, I found the springs online through Amazon for $100. So I'm like, why not? And for the garage doors, actually, there's all kinds of videos on how to repair your garage door. And I like the one site or the one video where the guy says, yeah, we sell the springs and we can help you along the way or whatever. So I took a picture of my garage door. That's all I had to do is take a picture of it. And then I emailed that to him, and literally, and this was like 11 o'clock at night, I would say. But literally, like a minute later, probably 30 seconds later, I got a return email. And it told me, these are the size springs you need. It was a measurement. I don't know, 207, 2.5, 20 or something like that. Anyways, these are the springs you need. I'm like, oh, wow. And so I was going to buy it through them because they got back to me so quick. But they were $130 plus shipping and all this other crap. And it was just the springs. Well, when I looked at Amazon for the garage door, they sold those identical springs. And it came with these special bars that you have to use to wind the springs, and they gave you a pair of like work gloves with them as well, and I don't know, usually I just go, I just go raw dog on a lot of my shit, but I went ahead and wore those gloves. I'm like, what the hell, they sent them for a reason, I'm going to use them, and it was cool, kept the dirt off my hands, and tools that were slipping out of my hand and shit like that. But anyways, I ordered the part from Amazon. It was $100. I was a newbie at the garage door, so I started at 8 a.m. and I went all the way till 2 p.m. So that's about 6 hours. So I don't know. I might be overinflating my labor, but I said $40 an hour, which I think is like an average. Probably, that's probably overkill. So $240 in labor. I don't think, overall, I don't feel the job was over $240 in labor. But just trying to get some rough numbers here, right? So my $240 labor plus the $100 part I'm in it for $340. Yeah, I'll never get these hours back. I could have been doing something better, fishing and looking and cooking and looking and all that shit by the side of the river and all that shit. But anyways, I'm at $340, I guess, total. They're at 500 plus. So I don't know if for him just to come out with 500 and then he's going to charge me for springs and all this other shit or whatever. So who knows what his price actually would have been. So I may have saved some money there doing it myself, other than just losing out on 6 hours of my life that I could have been doing something more productive or more interesting. So that was the garage door. The next thing was the hot water heater. So I call the hot water heater guys out. They show up. They take a look at it. And the guy tells me that he's looking at about $2,450. And that's just for the hot water heater. That's not for the drywall work or any of that. And then he told me, he goes, oh, you probably have an insurance claim here because there's water around the base that it sits on, what's called the pedestal. And so he says they have dry out guys they will recommend to me to come out and check. And I've had 2 previous leaks in this house, and it was such a cluster. But I said, yeah, sure, go ahead, send your guys over. And I said, are you pulling the water heater now? He's like, no, damage is done. Keep using it as you're using it and whatever, carry on. So they're only going to do the water heater. They don't do any drywall work or anything, and their rate is $2,450. I feel that's outrageous. It shouldn't take you more than about 30 minutes to an hour to replace a hot water heater, maybe 2 hours at most. So, if I count my $40 an hour labor, let's call it 80. We'll just call it 100. Maybe my hot water heater is $1,000 from Home Depot. So 1,100 is what I'm thinking. To me that might be reasonable. If the hot water heater is $1,000, you might be able to find it cheaper. Probably, I don't know. But I called my buddy Alejandro, and his price, 1,200 to 1,400 is what he told me. So I said, well, that's half of what these guys are doing. The only reason I needed Alejandro because I don't know how to sweat copper. I've dabbled with it, but I would say I'm not the best. And so I need him to redo the hot water shutoff valve, which is copper. And then the expansion valve line going outside of the house is copper as well. So I feel I need Alejandro. So I called him up, and he told me 1,200 to about 14. I said, okay, cool, buddy, but I have some rehab to do. So in the meantime, the plumbing company's dry out guys call, which happen to be my dry out guys. They're pretty good dudes. I've used them two times before. As far as dry out, they're awesome. So I have no problem with them. I'm like, yeah, send over preferred choice. They're awesome with dry out. I will 100% back them on their dry out. Reconstruction, I don't know. So their dry out guy comes, and I show him what I have going on, and he goes, dude, this ain't an insurance claim, no way. He scans the walls, checks it. He goes, dude, this is very minor. He goes, you know what? To be honest with you, man, if you know how to tear this drywall out and dry it out yourself, I would recommend doing it yourself. He said, we'd be more than happy to do it for you. I can give you a cash offer, or we can do insurance. Well, my insurance is about $1,300 deposit deductible, so that was going to end up being a wash for me. I'll talk more about the dry out, but as far as the hot water heater, I cut it out myself since the plumbing guys weren't going to do it today. That day. They're going to do it the next day, but I need to start dry out, right? So I went ahead and cut the hot water heater out. It didn't take me more than about 20 minutes. I yanked that fucker out. Then I ripped all that wood out and all that shit, and I started my own dry out. So, the hot water heater installation, Alejandro kept to his word, and he only charged me 1,200. I feel that's still kind of a high price, but if that hot water heater was $1,000, he only charged me 200. So I'm thinking he gave me one hell of a screaming deal compared to the $2,450 it would have cost. Now the dry out, the only reason I put a price for dry out right here is because I had to buy a small amount of drywall material, the plaster board or the gypsum board, and then I didn't have filters for my shop vac to vacuum up all the the drywall work stuff and all the tear out debris. So that came out to about $90. I mean, the filters were probably $50, and the drywall stuff was like 40. So I did that for $90. So the hot water replacement and the drywall work, including paint and all that, came up to $1,290. That that beats they're just doing the water heater right here, right? So I was pretty happy about that. So as far as the dry out goes, so I don't know if you've ever had a leak at your house and you use insurance. I had an issue with the dry out company the last time I used them. Like $2,500 came up missing, and the insurance company was saying somebody cashed the check. The dry out people were trying to say I cashed the check. In my previous leak, I never got the money for the dry out. It went straight to the dry out company. So I never even knew what that number was. So when I started chasing the dry out money, insurance company was claiming the dry out company had it. The dry out company was trying to say I had it. I didn't have shit. So we came up missing $2,500 on our dry out on my second job. So I was thinking about all that, but while the dry out people were here, the fella gave me a cash price of $1,300. So I don't know if they have a way to check my deductible, but that's about what my deductible is. And then they told me there are now some additional costs, for the dry out. So what are those additional costs? So I feel they just suck your deductible away, then they just charge you whatever the dry out was going to be. So in this case, maybe it's $1,300. So it might have been a $2,600 job if I was going to use these guys. The deductible's all funny money in my opinion, because they say they pay for it, but then they end up charging you in their labors and supplies. So I opted to do the dry out myself. So I put $0 cost on a dry out because I did it myself with a small fan and a heater. I did add the materials up top, as you've seen, with a hot water heater. So the dry out and the hot water heater all together was about $1,290. So what I did was I calculated my total costs, add labor for the garage door, the labor for the hot water heater. I put 12 hours there, but that is including the dry out, the plastering, and painting. So I 12 hours I busted my ass on that. So altogether I had like 18 hours of labor I put in, and I calculated that price here. So that was $720 if the labor price is $40 an hour. Probably not. I'm probably undercutting myself. So I added all my numbers up, the drywall, the garage door, and all that stuff. So I spent $2,110 doing this job myself. Yeah, the 18 hours of labor I'll never get back. Time waits for no man. So, that's I could have been fishing, hunting, or doing something else with that. But that is what I paid. If I would have had trades come out, I think I added it all up correctly. So the $2,450 is just the hot water heater. The garage door would have been, where's it at? The garage door is $500 plus, so that could cost me even more. And then the dry out, I just put $1,300 for the cash value that the guy told me, but it was probably going to be a lot more than that, I'm thinking, once they come out and actually say what the real price is. But anyways, I ended up, if I had trades do all the work for me, it would be $4,250 compared to my $2,110. So I don't know, what did I save? About 50% off of what it would cost. So I don't know, it is work, I get it, They got to send people out. They got gas price or whatever, maintenance on their vehicle, whatever. But I don't know. I still feel like this is a pretty damn high price to do a hot water heater and a garage door repair. You know, I don't know, man. Are you paying for the skill for the hot water heater at $22,450? Maybe. The guy that knows how to do the copper work, whatever, disposal of your old water heater and all that. So maybe that is that cost, but that's just money I don't have right now. I mean, this hurt me. That hurt me right there. This, I don't know that I would have been able to afford that at all. So with these trades guys, I don't know. They need to, I don't know, come back down to pre-COVID prices and help a fella out. Shoot. All right, bunch of ranting. Have a good day. Bye.